Okay, let's get out of the textbook just for a second and talk a little bit about your own portfolio, because I know that's what you're thinking. What you're thinking is, okay, I've heard all this about returns and I just want to make a lot of money. Okay, I'm with you. I understand that. So what we found is you can't really pick next year's returns. You have to hold for a long period of time. Well, it depends on the companies, right? So one of the things that's very, very important is we diversify. The S&P 500 is 500 stocks. The Russell 2000 is all of the small cap stocks around there. So it's not picking one or two stocks. That's a whole different game. So when you want a diversified portfolio, we're going to talk about this more in the future segments. When we talk about a diversified portfolio that's going to match some of these returns that we see in the benchmark, we want to make sure we're diversified. So I like to play a game called Are You Diversified? Now this is from one of the guys on TV. I won't name him, but he plays a little game called Are You Diversified, where you try to name 5 stocks that would be as different as possible. Hopefully that will move in opposite directions. So you want completely different stocks. So stocks that are not different would be examples of McDonald's, Coke, Yum Brands, that's Taco Bell, Chipotle, Burger King, etc. Those stocks, if nobody wants beef or nobody wants burgers, nobody wants fast food, are all going to go down together. If they don't go, or they're going to all go up together. They're going to move very similar, but you're not diversified. And so they're all going to move together. It's like owning one big stock. So what you want is things that are completely diversified, or portfolios that are diversified, and stocks that are completely different. For example, McDonald's, United Health, Boeing, Wells Fargo, and Ralph Lauren. So McDonald's is about fast food and unhealthy things. United Health is obviously taking care of your health. You could argue that McDonald's leads to United Health, but that's two different companies there. Boeing is aerospace and airplanes that has nothing to do with health or food. Wells Fargo is financing. You could say that all companies need financing, but they're kind of a bank and be a little bit separate from McDonald's, United Health, and Boeing. And Ralph Lauren is a high-end apparel clothier that sells to high-end people, and a very nice line of clothing, but it has nothing to do with McDonald's. So you can see that that would be a more diversified portfolio. They're things that move differently. So the idea of having a diversified portfolio is that you, first of all, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And the second thing is, the goal is that when one goes up, the other one might be going down or be opposite that, but as long as the line is tilted. So let me give you an example. If McDonald's is going like this, and Burger King is going to go like this, and Coke is going to go like this, what you're looking for in your portfolio is when McDonald's is up, it's okay for Ralph Lauren to be down, as long as on average they end up higher than when they started. So they move opposite of each other. So McDonald's is up, Ralph Lauren is down. Ralph Lauren goes up, McDonald's is down. Or Ralph Lauren goes down, McDonald's is back up. So they're moving opposite of each other. However, they're always trending upward. And if they move opposite of each other, trending upward, you get this effect of reducing the volatility on your portfolio. You get to reduce the volatility on your portfolio. So each stock is moving, but if they're moving opposite, the impact on your portfolio is minimal, and so your returns won't be bouncing all over the place if you can find things that are negatively correlated. We'll talk more about that coming up. But you're looking for things that are negatively correlated and diversify across different parts of the investment spectrum. So the second thing I want to do is talk about picking stocks. So this is the difference between having a portfolio where you've picked stocks, or you're talking about an index fund or an ETF, or even a mutual fund. And mutual funds and index funds are different. A mutual fund has a fund manager that is picking stocks for you. So you've invested in a mutual fund. The fund manager is out there picking stocks for you. He's trying to beat the index. He's trying to beat the market. And that's what you're paying for. And mutual funds have a wide range of fees associated with them. They can generate taxes and so on. Now, an index fund simply mimics the index. If you buy into an S&P 500 index fund, the idea is to give you the index return, and you can put your money in, you get the index return, and the fees are usually much, much lower because it's all computerized trading. They don't have to decide what to put in the index. That's done by someone else. They simply mimic the index for your return. So the fees are very, very low. So we have index funds and mutual funds. Now, which one would you pick? Now, here's the way I would think about this. Think about it as going to the horse track. right? So every company's a horse, and you don't know too much about the horses. So if you don't think you could pick stocks on your own, because you don't know how to pick a horse, a winner from a loser, you don't know anything about them, you can't read the racing form, you don't know anything that's going on, you go, okay, so what do? I mean, why am I here? And you get tip sheets. If you walk into a horse track ever, there's a bunch of people selling their picks for that day, the winners that they feel will come in that day. And so when you go to a horse track, you can either pick your own horses, or you can buy a tip sheet to pick that will help you decide which horses to pick. So let me ask you this. If you can't pick stocks and you can't pick horses, what makes you think you can pick a person to pick stocks for you? So if you think of this in terms of mutual funds, if you can't pick stocks, how do you know how to pick a mutual fund manager who's a person who picks stocks for you? I mean, if you don't know how to pick stocks, how do you know how to pick the person who picks your stocks? And if you don't know how to pick stocks and you don't know how to person to pick your stocks, what are you going to do? Well, maybe ask your buddy, or you ask a financial advisor. So you look for a financial advisor. And your financial advisor picks mutual funds for you to invest in your portfolio. So now what have you done? Well, you've admitted that, hey, I can't pick stocks and I can't pick mutual funds, which is a person to pick my stocks. So what have I done? I've hired a person to pick my stocks. So you've pushed the decision out and paid another level of fees to a person who can pick stocks for you, who can pick mutual funds, who can pick stock for you. So you've got another layer of fees that you're putting out there, and sometimes it's 1% to 2% each, which was, quite a layering of fees against your actual return. So the way I would think about it is, if you can't pick stocks, if you want to invest in mutual funds, you're essentially saying, I need to be able to pick a mutual fund. Well, if you can't pick stocks, it's hard to pick a person to pick stocks. And then if you find a financial advisor, an investment advisor that picks mutual funds for you, you've got a person to pick the stocks. So you're paying two levels of fees, number one, and number two, how do you pick a financial advisor? If you can't pick stocks and you can't pick a person to pick stocks, what makes you think you can pick a person to pick stocks? And it can just keep going. So I don't know how to find a financial advisor, so what do? You ask your friends, and your friends tell you, oh, you should pick Fred. He's a great financial advisor. So how do you know Fred's right? How do you pick a person to pick a person to pick a person to pick stocks? So you can just keep going. And so this is why, if you can't pick stocks, we avoid all of these people and we put our money into an index fund. And if you ask Warren Buffett, the richest person in the world and the most advanced investor in the world, or at least most people would think so, it's really simple. He goes, if most people just buy the index fund and be done with it. So when you think about it, I'm buying the S&P 500. Can it go to zero? No. If all 500 companies of the United States, the largest companies, go to zero, trust me, your portfolio is not what you're worried about. We have Armageddon, so that's a whole different thing. So it can't go to zero. It's going to bounce around. Absolutely, we know that. The volatility, you're going to have some years that are good and some years that are bad. And then we do this thing called dollar cost averaging. And we look at dollar cost averaging, and what we do is we put a little bit of money all the time in. Just a little bit of money all the time in. And when the years are high, yeah, we're buying too high. Years are low, yeah, we're getting a great deal. Now we're buying low. So you just keep putting money in over time. And then you get your average return over time. So you don't know if you're buying high or buying low. You're just buying all the time. So that's my little sermon, if you will, about how to get through the diversification in your own portfolio. If you can't pick stocks, you probably can't pick a person to pick your stocks. So avoiding mutual funds is probably wise. Stick with the index funds. S&P 500 index is your default position, the largest 500 companies. You want to get into small companies, get a Russell index fund. That's good too, but get an index fund and then dribble it in. Vanguard's usually the default investment company for this. Fidelity's okay. Even a Schwab or a Scott Trade or someone else can do this for you. And you just set up a fund, and then you dribble your money in over time. And once you're set up with that fund, you will get dollar average returns, and you'll get the market return over a long period of time. And over a long period of time, the stock market's done pretty well. Short periods of time, obviously, we've had some pretty big downturns. So there you go. That's a way to think of diversification in your own portfolio, given what we've talked about. It's not horse racing exactly, but it's similar enough. If you can't pick a horse and you can't pick a stock, well, best thing is to put a little bit on every horse in the race and see how it turns out. So let's keep going.